Hey y'all, welcome to Southern Sober and Sassy.
Hey y'all.
We're glad you're here. And today we have decided we're talking about any links. What will you go through and to, not away from, through and to get to where you want to be. But first, I would like to say a big congrats to Kristy, as on April 1st, what a day, celebrated 17 years of recovery. Whoop, whoop.
Yay.
So how'd you do it?
Oh gosh. I was willing to go to any length.
Yeah.
I mean, I finally reached that stage where I was finally ready to go to any length. You know, alcohol, it just beat me and beat me and beat me. And I thought that I could whip it. And it beat me time and time again. And, you know, the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous showed me that it was possible. I could not deny it. I could not deny it. You sit in a room of Alcoholics Anonymous, you are squarely confronted with the facts that it works.
Yeah.
And so the way that it really happened for me was yes, ma'am. That's how I got sober. Was yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. Do this, yes, ma'am. Don't do that, yes, ma'am. You know, don't answer that phone call, yes, ma'am. Don't reply to that text, yes, ma'am. Don't go to the bar, yes, ma'am. Go to an AA meeting instead. Move a muscle, change a thought. Go for a walk when you don't want to, yes, ma'am. Go to another meeting. You know, it wasn't up for, my sponsor told me, this is not up for discussion. It's not up for manipulation. It's not up for debate. There is one way, the way. And I can only teach you how I was taught, and I'm going to walk you through these 12 steps, and we're going to listen to a set of 6 CDs from Joe H. And it worked for me, and that's the only way that I know how to teach you, and that's how it worked for me, and that's how I do it with others. And she would give me homework, and I would say yes, ma'am, and she told me to show up every Sunday at 4:30, no matter what, and I said yes, ma'am, and so that's how I got sober, and you know, God revealed Himself to me in a very gradual way, and when I realized that the obsession had been removed, there was a light, like this massive electrical light switch that came on inside of me, that I was like, oh my God, this has happened to me. And I became addicted to spirituality and to spiritual principles and to the program of recovery, and I have not stopped.
I will say that you have not. You have gotten even stronger, especially in your spirituality. And I've felt that because I've come to you in the past year with things, and you redirect me to what is our higher power say?
Mm-hmm.
What is God telling you? What are people? Have you sat still long enough to see these people that God has put in your life to help you to navigate this journey?
Mm-hmm.
You know, praying more. And I was raised in the church, and I've shared with you and others, you know, I stepped back away because I didn't think I was worthy enough for God to love me. And when I got sober, that gradual feeling of peace and knowing I am worthy was revealed, and it was revealed in the rooms. It was not revealed in church.
Right.
It was actually revealed in the rooms of AA.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm grateful for that, and I'm grateful to walk alongside of you just to see your spirituality grow. It was Sev's talked about last night.
Mm-hmm.
Sponsor lady.
Yeah.
And her being able to see you grow, and it's very apparent. So
well, thank you.
It is. It shines. You shine.
Here's the good news: is we don't get to make the decision of whether God thinks we're worthy. God, you just said something that I didn't think that I was worthy. Well, we don't make that decision. God
I
does.
know.
God does.
And I think too, going to any links, just like my shirt, for those of you, we are on YouTube, but my shirt says adultish. And I believe that going to any links is actually being an adult. It's stepping up and growing up.
It's maturity.
It is maturity.
And, I like being immature. And I have been immature for a very long time. And I used it as an excuse and I used it as a crutch. And there comes a point in time that you stand up and you act half right because God moved in and helped you. And there comes a point in time that you stand up and act mature and act like a lady, and there are times that we act a fool and cuss and scream and holler, but it's not for long, but
yeah. And Jesus still loves us too.
Yeah,
if we
I
act
cuss
like
a
a
little.
fool.
I love Jesus,
And
but I cuss a little.
Yeah, I had a colleague get me a shirt that said, "I love Jesus and I cuss."
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think too we're stepping out, just like Susan Anderson's book. She quotes the term, adult high chair, which is a whole recovery coaching program that I'm hoping to launch this year. I'm still putting the pieces together, and I would love for you to be a part of that, because I know you have a lot of people that actually vibe to you. But adult, being adultish, getting out of the high chair, getting into the walker, taking the training wheels off the bike, and riding the bike. The spoke checks on the bike. Those are our lessons in recovery. The spiritual, the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the financial. So talk to me about going to any links. I know we've talked about your story on here before, but where are you today with going to any links? Because recovery is not a one and done. It's a lifestyle change. It is every day. It is not just people, places, and things, which are, yes, a big part of it, but it's everything from our head to our toes and all in between. So what is that every day? Go to the indie links. What does that look like for you today, Kristy? 17 years sober.
Any length in the beginning was very robotic for me.
Yeah.
I lived in AA meetings, and I needed to live in AA meetings because I didn't trust myself. I knew I would go to the liquor store. I knew that I would leave that meeting and go to a liquor store. And so there was a 9:30 a.m. meeting, a 12 o'clock noon meeting, and a 5:30 meeting. And I'd lost my job because of alcohol. That is still bitter coming out of my mouth. It took me a long time to say that I lost my job because of alcohol. But anyway, I had to completely and 100% do recovery all the time. I had to put my family on hold. I had to put my friends on hold. I had to put work on hold. I had to put everything on hold and completely 100% become tunnel vision with recovery in my first year, especially my first 6 months, mainly my first year. Once the whole God thing kind of kicked in, I had a little bit of relief, but then I started to get real curious about the God stuff, and that that helped a lot. But now my any length in early recovery and any length at 17 years is pretty much the same thing, but it's not as robotic because it's gonna make me cry, because it has become my lifestyle. I choose to do it. I enjoy to do it. I don't endure it anymore because I don't have any problems in my life. And I say that a lot, when we joke about it, is that I don't have any problems. Well, I really kind of don't compared to early recovery. If I have problems in my life today, it's because of two reasons. Number one, I've either created them or I have allowed them. So much of recovery in early recovery is to get rid of the problems. I walked in the door with 100 problems. My sponsor said, "You really only have about 20. You just think you have 100. 50 of the 100 are somebody else's problems. Miss Codependent, Fixer, Caretakeritis." And she just marked all those people off the list. So any length to me today is discipline. So much is discipline. Any link to me today is I still go to 3 to 5 meetings a week, minimum 3. I always have minimum 3 that I go to. Making time for sponsees. They are locked in every Wednesday. I tell my sponsees this is when I can meet. That is a requirement. It's not a suggestion. I know that I have to give it away to keep it.
Excuse me.
Bless you. And being accountable to my sponsor. You know, being, and back to the discipline thing, being disciplined with my body physically, walking when I don't want to, and allergies is messing with the OG over here. So,
hit.
She's not doing 8 balls of cocaine, I promise. It's just allergies,
I would
y'all.
not be so quiet if I would have been doing the 8 balls of cocaine.
Let me tell you what anything means.
Yeah, let me jump in and talk over you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, mentally, it's mental discipline. Financially, I've always been good with money. It is financial discipline where I have stripped myself down to the basic needs. I know the difference between needs and wants. It's very clear. My sponsor made me write that down on a piece of paper. I got a piece of paper. She drew a line down the middle. She said, needs on the left, write them down. Wants on the right, write them down. Look at it on a piece of paper and get it out of this squirrel brain that I have. I know that, it's going to make me cry again, sorry. God will, how does the saying go? Manage well what God gives me and He will give me more. Don't manage it well and He'll give it to somebody else who will. So manage my body well, manage my finances well, manage my sobriety well, manage my relationships well, manage my work well, and He will give me more. Don't manage it well and He'll give it to somebody else who will. God's not to be taken advantage of, and I have to be acutely aware of that, to not take advantage of a good thing. Personally, right now in my life, I have to be careful with saying no when I want to say yes.
Yeah. I was going to talk about
because we can sit here and we can talk about sobriety all day long. I'm still human and I still have instincts.
Yep.
And I still have self-will. And those things, to not pop off at the mouth when I want to, not call an old boyfriend when I want to, not pursue a toxic relationship.
Yep.
Because it's easy.
Yeah, or you don't have to be.
And say no.
Yep.
When I know that I want a healthy relationship and that I have to be willing to work at it. Anything worth having requires effort. Anyway, so that from day one to year 17, any length um, is still pretty much the same, and I think that is why I have such a beautiful, wonderful life. Is I was given some simple things to do in the beginning, and they are ingrained in me, and they work, and I'm not going to stop doing what works because number one, it feels good. Number two, I'm too afraid not to do it. I know myself very well. I self destruct very quickly, and I'm not willing to do that.
Yeah.
So, and I'm hungry for more, and I know that I have to act out right in order to get more of God's will in my life. You and I pray for advancement. You and I pray for expansion. You and I pray for how can God use us more all the time. We we both know that it starts with us and that God's going to check our character first before he gives us before he answers our prayers. So,
I think going to any lengths is, for me, this past.
What does it mean to you? Because you just hit a milestone too. You just hit 16.
Yeah, I
Didn't
think
you?
it's 15.
15.
Yes. Wait. Yeah, 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought
Next
it
year
was
be
16.
16. No, that's Tara.
Okay. All right. You're right.
So I think this past year is realizing that my stress, going to any lengths, my stress came from too many yeses. That's easy to remember. If you've got a lot of stress, look at what you're saying yes to. And that has been my biggest growth this past year, is being able to say the word no. And I preach it all the time, literally preach it to people. No, go stand in front of your mirror and say, no, practice your no on a high pitch, low pitch. I don't care. But learn that word in your vocabulary. And what's so cool is I get to participate with other people in their recovery journey. And yesterday I was talking to a mama, and that makes me want to cry, because I had given her some insight on how to handle her daughter. And she said, I'm going to tell you, and this woman is very highly educated, but she's still a mom of a daughter that's an addict. Mm-hmm. Not just with substance abuse, but with behaviors. And she said, I'm going to be honest, I was not willing to say what you told me to tell my daughter. And she said, I didn't believe it would work. And she said, and it did. Mm-hmm. And she said, I just need you to know that I'm more trusting now mm-hmm. of what you tell me to do. Oh. And that made me want to cry, mm-hmm. Because it works if you work it. And I am not always right. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I am, my emotion, for the most part, when I start working with somebody, is 1,000% removed, because I'm an empath, believe it or not. But I'm also, I have that boundary, because I can get attached to these people I work with mm-hmm. like that. And, I can't put myself in a position of where I'm responsible for their recovery. And that is a big lesson I've learned this year. Mm-hmm. And realizing that the more I say yes, I am opening myself up for more stress. Mm-hmm. And so for me, going to any lengths is going service work. Kristy, our sponsor Nancy, which she don't mind us using her name. She already said, because she's supposed to be on this podcast, y'all. We're going to drag her on here.
We're going to get her here.
We're going to get her here. She is an amazing woman. And, she told me, she said, she didn't say you need to. Let me rephrase that. Last year, she was like, Amy, these are the dates you're going to sign, you're going to chair the meeting, you're going to do service work, you're going to show up. And I got in a rhythm doing that, and it just, I can't tell you, Kristy, what that's done for me. You know, I was treasurer of a home group for 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, like 6 years. I did service work, you know, but it was not me getting into the trenches, because I don't live, you know, I live now in Santa Rosa Beach, and it was a long way, but I showed up every month to do the treasure stuff. But my home group now, I feel like I'm part of. And that has been such a big part of my recovery, knowing that I am needed in that capacity.
Well, and that people can depend on you.
Yeah, girl, I'll never forget when I became treasurer of that home group, because in my addiction, no bank in town, I couldn't even have a damn checking account. And so for me to be handling money, I mean, that right there is a testimony to my recovery. You know, and now I have that, I have credit. You know, I have credit. But I will tell you that, you know, I was part of, but, you know, and I had tried to resign in that position for a while, and it just couldn't it did not happen, because I didn't set a firm enough boundary. Because I kept saying, or I kept trying to, you know, say I couldn't do it, and something would come up, they couldn't find anybody, and finally I was like, that's not my problem. I love y'all, but that's not my problem. You know, and so now my service work, not that didn't matter, but this service work, where I'm at, I reap a benefit of feeling, you know, that I am dependable, that I am needed. And I love my home group. I love I do. I love all of those people in there. And, you know, I've talked about this before. Sometimes meetings are our family.
Yeah.
Because a lot of families are either dysfunctional, or they don't understand. I mean, I remember when I first started going to meetings, my dad was like, is that like a cult or something? You know, and he didn't understand. And then my mom, last year was her first AA meeting ever, you know, and so I just think go to any lengths. And with saying that, Kristy, I found that I can't go to any lengths for other people. They've got to want it, just like you said. You set the parade. We set the boundary. We put the line in the sand. We give them A, B, C, like you said, and D. And if you can't do this, I'm not going to be mad at you. You're just not ready.
Right.
You know?
Something that you said about that mother who chose to do something different. I say to people all the time, what are you willing to do differently? Because what you have been doing has not been working. So let's just common sense our way into this. Okay, you've been doing this, you've been doing that, you've been doing this. Those three things have not worked. Okay, so let's look at, a lot of the times, the opposite of that. Or let's look at, what can I do differently?
Yeah.
And it is not us telling someone what to do with their life. Recovery is not telling someone what to do with their life. Recovery is saying, here is a suggestion. And
a strong, a very
strong highly suggest that you take this suggestion.
Yes.
But it's still a suggestion. I am not telling you what to do, but it's almost like two people sit down at a desk. You have the teacher and you have the student. And the teacher walks up and they say, okay, here is something different. And then they lay it down. They lay it on the table. And then the teacher walks off. Well, there it still lays. The student is just going to sit there and look at it. Okay. All right. And the student may get up and walk out the door and leave this suggestion laying on the table. Or they're going to pick this suggestion up and take it with them and actually use it. I did not, when I first came into the program of recovery, everyone kept giving me suggestions and laying it on the table. Pride said, I ain't picking that up. Y'all may need it, but I ain't doing
I don't
that.
need it.
You have
Yeah.
got to. I'm like, no. Y'all are much more desperate than me.
Yeah.
Countless vain attempts, y'all. Anyway, I'd go back into another AA meeting. There it sat.
And how offered to you again.
There it sat. There it is again. There's that damn suggestion. And there, everyone else is taking the suggestion, but this mine with Kristy's name on it is still laid there. Still laid there. Still laid there. One day, I finally picked up this suggestion. Here's the thing is, you gave that mother a suggestion. You did not tell her what to do. You said, how can we do this differently? And then you walked away. And she's either gonna take this suggestion or she's not. She finally did, and it worked. That she had to gain trust from you because it sounds so off the chart. It sounds so opposite. It sounds so uncomfortable. It sounds like, you don't know me. You don't know my child. You don't know my ex-husband. He will laugh at me if I say that to him. My sponsor said, are you willing to go to any length? You said you were. Then say this instead of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, oh my God, my ex-husband is going to laugh at this reply. It worked.
Yeah.
I'll be damned.
Because you picked up the book.
It worked. Here's the thing, is recovery is a gift. We hear people say that all the time. I would go into an AA meeting, or Al-Anon, or ACA, or CA, or ZA, or whatever, and there's set that gift. It was like a present. I'd go walking in there, there's set that present. There it is again. And I'd just sit there and look at it. Every meeting, I'd be like, there's that damn present again. And I'd leave it laying on the table. Being given a present and opening it are two different things. The day came that I finally went in there and took the bow off. It's going to make me cry. And took the wrapping paper off. And took the top off. And opened the gift. Being given a present and opening the gift are two different things. So it's like, finally, the day came that I went in there and went, all right.
I love that analogy. And by the way, this book, it says love. And everything that is in any kind of recovery literature is about love. I love what you said, and I want to tell you this too. Our biggest, we talk to families and we talk to individuals all the time about, just offer your loved one the gift. What I find is that person that's offering the gift doesn't think they're deserving of the gift.
Mm-hmm.
Because recovery is twofold. If you're a family wanting your loved one to get sober and change their behaviors, what is your part in it?
Yeah.
We all have a part in it. So if you feel that your loved one is worthy enough for you to give the gift, then you have to take the gift too.
Yep.
I don't buy gifts from people that I wouldn't give myself. And I'm not trying to be look at there. See? They agree with it. They agree with it. And what I mean by that is not selfish. That is, the saying, what would Jesus do? But when I give a gift, I look at the reason why I'm giving it, okay? Who I'm giving it to, the reason why I'm giving it, and how would I feel if I was given this gift? And again, not being selfish, but I'm not going to give someone a gift that I wouldn't want to receive.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes that gift more important. Because if they're worthy to get a gift, I'm worthy to get a gift. I am worthy. Mm-hmm. My higher power, God, tells me I am worthy to receive just as much of recovery that I am giving away.
I am going to say something so freaking simple. How did I finally receive that gift?
Yeah.
My sponsor made me say 2 words. I wasn't allowed to say 3. I wasn't allowed to say 17. I was allowed to say 2. And those are, thank you. Thank you, but no, thank you. Your hair looks nice. Thank you. Here, have a new coffee mug. Thank you. Here, have a new journal. Thank you. Congratulations on your sobriety. Thank you. I did not feel worthy of those compliments. It's a lie.
Yep.
It is a lie. Anyone who turns the door on an AA meeting or an Al-Anon meeting, who picks up the phone and dials her number, or picks up the computer and taps in to listen to this, is so much more courageous than the normal Joe Blow walking around unmedicated.
He likes that one.
I mean, it's give yourself some credit.
Yeah.
I mean, my gosh, when it boils down to worthiness, anyone who even remotely is curious about recovery gets a gold star in my book. There's not very many people who can step up to the plate and face the devil head on with the intention of winning. Those are people those are the kind of people I want to hang out with. So lay down the hammer, pick up the feather, and just practice those 2 words. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And that worthiness will build.
It will. So in closing, I think going to any lengths. If today all you did was stay sober, it's not all you did. It is what you did. Mm-hmm. Proud for you. Any lengths for some people is I just stayed sober. No, you just didn't. You did stay sober today. Yep. And that is your award. Like Kristy's talking about gold stars. You know what? Any lengths varies with everybody. Mm-hmm. Whether you're day 1 or day 2,500, it doesn't matter. You are worthy.
Every baby step matters. Every page in the book that you read matters. Oh, well, I didn't read a chapter. A paragraph was enough.
Yes.
You made an effort.
That's right.
It's all about the effort. Every baby step matters. There are no bigs or littles in God's world. It all matters.
It does. I love that. Well, we appreciate y'all showing up with us, and we hope you have a fabulous weekend ahead. And we look forward to seeing you next week. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you're going to see all the little thumbs up that they just, thought what we were saying was great.
Yeah.
So I'll take it. I don't know if
Yeah.
we can get some balloons today, but we are congratulating Kristy. The
Thank
balloons
you.
still don't come.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we'll figure that out. Okay,
All right.
y'all have a great weekend, and thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
y'all.